Back when they revived iCarly in 2021, I thought they made the perfect choice. It made so much sense. The original iCarly got started in 2007 and ended in 2012. The landscape of the internet has changed since then. We define media differently than what we did back then. Television was the dominant force back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Now, phones and tablets are the dominant force. Being an influencer is a viable career now. However, traditional methods of making money haven't changed. Influencers gain attention. On the internet, attention is a currency because you can see way more ads. And the ads give you cold hard cash. Although nobody uses cold hard cash nowadays, most money is digital. Enter the episode iPromote Techfoots, where a company selling faulty and scammy products is the main antagonist. Ahem, that sounds very familiar. We open the episode with a joke that becomes harsher in hindsight because Sam complains about hunger and how she's so lazy to actually get food in her mouth. Jeanette McCurdy, who played Sam, would go on the record saying she struggled with eating disorders during her tenure on Nickelodeon. After that collar-pulling line, Freddie reports that iCarly's latest webcast got them 355,000 viewers. Spencer then walks in and answers Carly's question as to where he has been. He was in Vancouver, in Canada, because he slept on the bus. Are there bus rides from Seattle to Vancouver? You'd expect them to check, passports. He also bought Canadian bacon. I love that the Canadian bacon logo is just a pig in a Canada shirt with the tagline, "Bacon, eh?" He also finds that it's sliced ham, which is just the icing on top. So Carly gets an email from Deka Shoes, the lawyer-friendly version of Nike in the Nickverse, over a business relationship. Carly, Sam, and Freddie join up at Deka HQ. Not sure why Spencer isn't with them because, these are minors, but this is a sitcom. The game plan is rather simple. Freddie believes that if you're going to promote Deka's products, $50 it is. Sam says 100. I say, you're both idiots. The equivalent of $50 in 2007 is around $78 in 2025. And for the $100, it's around $156. I'm just saying, Freddie, you're the smart one. You could easily go, well, if you want to advertise on our channel, you have to pay us like a penny per viewer. That sounds small, but remember, they netted like 355,000 viewers last week. They can easily get some nice cash. If he said like $1 for every 1,000 views, that's still a lot of money, but clearly it's missing a zero right there. Or he could just sell it by the minute or the second, depending on how long the broadcasts are. Indeed, Deka does want to advertise shoes on their show. This is the Techfoot. It's a shoe that has warmers, a built-in Wi-Fi router, and so much more. When asked how much money they want, they answer 100. The Techfoot exec mistakes this as $100,000. This nearly kills Sam because, $100,000 is a lot in this century, let's be honest. Carly, with the new money, goes on a shopping spree. Freddie gets a new computer. And Sam hires a personal chef. Also, Spencer created his own bike. The Techfoots, shall we say, have some minor issues, just some teeny tiny. Sure, they're shoes, but how bad they could possibly be. Well, they squeak, and cause foot pains, and crash a computer with the Wi-Fi router, and electrocution for stepping in puddles. Geez, even fictional Nike sucks at R&D. Oh, when Carly tosses them away, they simply combust. Spencer's bike also gets smashed by a street sweeper, so he resolves to rollerblade everywhere. At Deka, the company is perfectly okay with the issues of discomfort, combustion, and electrocution, which is probably the most unrealistic or realistic part. You make the call. Because on one hand, some companies will say, the odds of that happening are acceptable. But on the other, they're selling this to Americans, meaning combustion and electrocution tend to give them massive lawsuits. However, they are forced to talk up the Techfoot anyway because they signed a contract and took Deka's money. Contract part is iffy because what kind of universe lets minors sign contracts? But they still took the money. After a small moment of them being bummed out, Spencer crashes into the room. He apparently crashed into a dumpster earlier and is in great amounts of pain. However, he does help them by saying all contracts have a loophole, which during the next broadcast they proceed to bash the Techfoot in the most preppy, positive manner ever, much to the irritation of the executives who storm off to go meet them. Too bad they left right before they roasted weenies over them. The executives make it over to the apartment, where they threaten to sue the iCarly gang because they bash the Techfoot on live web broadcast. Spencer says the contract says they can only comment on the Techfoot in a positive way. And Spencer has a point. They never once call the Techfoot janky crap. They just say all the flaws allowed and say those are features, not bugs. Which, yeah, reasonably in a sitcom world, this can be construed as positive. Even then, it's a real-life strategy where if you want to criticize someone, you don't criticize them directly by saying they are the hellspawn. Like when you want to call someone a blithering idiot in real life, you can't really do that at the office, so you say, he's ambitious at least, he has spirit. So Spencer's intervention, even though he did impersonate a lawyer, because I'm sure he did not pass the bar exam, or is not recognized as a lawyer in any way, pretty much manages to call Deka's bluff. Deka says, okay, this partnership isn't working, we're gonna buy you out of your contract, $30,000, and then iCarly gang basically forces them to hand it out in cash. Who just carries a $30,000 in cash? I mean, I get all these guys are rich, but come on. Because Spencer saved their collective butts, they have pulled together the Deka money and used it to buy him a motorcycle, and the first thing he does is try to cross the Canadian border. Why? Because he wants to go to Vancouver and get Canadian bacon. Not sure why you couldn't have just gone to the store. I mean, America imports Canadian bacon. But hey, it works as a joke. It's a happy ending. All's well ends well. And that's the episode iPromote Techfoots. I feel like this is a good episode. It's easier to understand when you realize that their frame of reference is TV advertising, not internet advertising. Internet advertising was in its infancy way back then, and internet sponsorships were they even big enough to actually merit internet sponsorships back then? I feel like back in 2007, YouTube was still in its infancy, meaning that I don't think they even introduced the partner program yet, let alone netted audiences that can go for like hundreds of thousands. But with so many controversies surrounding sponsors, I think a few common controversies I've heard of are Honey, which I brought up earlier in the video, BetterHelp, and established titles. Yeah, I feel like this is a very relevant episode in today's world. You don't even have to limit it to content creators. I've heard of teachers getting solicitations from AI companies to use our tools, which baffles me, but I haven't seen them in real life. Though I do know curriculum scams do exist. Don't quote me on this, but I think a curriculum scam brought back the see and say method of reading rather than phonics, which that caused so many problems, it's not even funny. Those are just my thoughts. Please consider liking, subscribing, tipping the channel on Ko-fi. This is Cyril signing off.